efforts to save Pinson's Butterbean Festival, and we'll visit with Cahaba Elementary School's retiring principal and the new one. Tribune Unscripted starts now. Welcome everybody, thanks for joining us. It's Thursday, so we're here for Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trussville Tribune. You know, we had a really big announcement this week if you are in the Trussville City School System. And so we really wanted to start with that today because it's a big deal, because Cahaba Elementary School, which is a very successful elementary school statewide, right, as all three Trussville elementary schools are, but it's only had one principal. And right, she's retiring. So,
and that is a big deal.
It is a big deal
because that has been a very high-performing school, along with all of our elementary schools.
Yeah.
Actually, we got to quit saying that. All of the Trussville City schools are just doing a fantastic job.
They are.
But our elementary schools have really been a jewel in this system since we created Trussville City Schools. Mm-hmm. My daughter was in the first class at Cahaba, so your kids go there, so it's personal.
Well, yeah, Oliver was in the first kindergarten class for the year it opened, so we were both there, and it's just, you know, we've been in the game now for a long time with Joy Tyner. So I want to welcome both of these women and introduce both of them. We have Joy Tyner, who's the current principal of Cahaba Elementary School, and Jennifer Bruno, who is no stranger to the Trussville community, who is the theater teacher currently at Trussville Middle School. She has served in various roles and capacities throughout the Trussville school system over her career, but she's now the incoming principal next year, starting in July, of Cahaba Elementary School. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
We're just going to throw out the unbiased stuff that journalists are supposed to do, because I'm very biased towards both of these people. two of my favorite people, even if they weren't at our schools. And Joy, we should mention, in the interest of full disclosure, is also a former Tribune Person of the Year. So that gives you some idea of what we think of Joy Tyner. Guys, I don't really know where to start here. Joy, I think we'll start with you and just let you kind of share the experience. You had retired from Mississippi. You'd already put in a great career in education and came over to Trussville 10 years ago. In fact, I pulled up a photograph. I forgot to send it to Ron, so I'm doing you a favor. But I pulled up a photograph of the night you were introduced at the board meeting as the first Cahaba principal. So what has that experience been like to start an elementary school and go through an entire decade with it?
You know, Scott, I could talk about that probably for 30 minutes because I have learned so much. You know, 29 years in Mississippi, and I came honestly thinking I knew more than I really did. And I learned very quickly that I needed to figure out first more about Trussville, more about the people who I was going to serve at Cahaba. And the more I learned, the more I fell in love. And then, you know, they helped set the direction that we were going in for the last 10 years.
Well, I was going to ask Ms. Tyner, what makes, why now? I think your announcement, maybe some of us saw it coming and had heard a little bit, you know, that maybe you were thinking about it, but why is this the right time?
Mostly William Tyner, and if he's watching, he's saying, don't say I did that. No. You know, the day you wake up and you realize, you know, I spend so much more time at that school than I do with my husband. And, you know, I don't think I'm old yet, but I have worked for 40 years really, really hard. And, you know, it's time to invest some more in our marriage and in doing some fun things together for the, you know, however longer we can contribute. I don't know. I was pretty hard-headed. I really never wanted to leave Cahaba. Who would? You won't want to leave either. It's a great place to be every day. I love coming to work. But as a leader, it is a true leadership principle that a leader outlives their effectiveness after so many years. you start just saying, I need a new idea all the time. And I'm still the same person that I was 10 years ago. And Cahaba deserves that next step with a new vision and a new person to take them to the next level. These teachers deserve that, and the community. I've just kind of outlived my best self at this place, and I love it too much not to be able to say it's time.
Well, I don't know if anybody would agree with you on that, but I mean, you get to say there. But Ms. Bruno, you are, like I said, well known to the Trussville community. I was kind of laughing when I was reading the story announcing you as the new principal, and how it, reminded people that you were teacher of the year at all the different Trussville schools that you've served in.
Just the middle school.
Oh, I thought it mentioned something about the high school and when you were at Payne, and so I misread that. But you're a really popular educator in Trussville, and you have a wonderful history of students and families who really admire and love you. And so, but this is a new chapter, and so it may not have been a new chapter that other people in the community saw coming. So explain to people how you got here.
Well, it was not really a chapter I saw coming. I had no idea that the retirement was in the works. I have been at the middle school for 10 years now, and I kind of just planned on walking across the stage with my walker and just keeping on going. So I got my admin certificate last year, and then all of this just this is just God's plan. And it definitely is not the way that Jennifer Bruno saw it happening, but I have seen God work and just order my steps and open doors, and the way that things have gone have clearly not been of me.
Jennifer, I'm going to kind of reiterate what Brandon just asked. You've had other opportunities, and I don't want to speak out of school, but I'm aware of them because I begged you to take a couple of them. What was different this time? What just hit you differently?
It was just the right time. And again, I had prayed for guidance and for clarity, and it had not been there before. I knew that what I was doing before was the right thing, and I have had such a fantastic experience at the middle school, and I love what I have at the middle school, and I think it's just time for me to be able to offer that to other people. Kind of like you were saying, you just know when it's time, and I'm excited to be able to offer the experience that I've had and the climate and the culture that I have had. I would love to give to other people.
Well, I've seen, it's so funny when they announced you, because I had joked with you. I saw you at the Cahaba's musical just a couple of weeks ago. I thought you were just scouting talent for the middle school. But then once they announced it, I remember seeing you a couple of times. I don't remember if it was in the fall, but I've seen you come in the school and visit with Joy a couple of times when I was just in and out checking out kids. And so you've spent some time at Cahaba. You haven't had kids go through there, obviously, but what have you seen there that makes you look forward to serving as the principal there?
Well, I haven't been there as much as I would have liked to have been. I was impressed with Seussical the other night with the theater program that they put on, and I did get to do a couple of days last May with Miss Tyner and with Miss Giangrosso as I was working on my admin certificate. So I have gotten to see a little bit of how precious and sweet and wonderful all of the teachers and all of the students are, and I'm super excited about getting to learn them more. So I haven't been there nearly as much as I want to be, but we're going to get there.
Miss Tyner, the next couple of months is a big deal at Cahaba because you give the fifth graders this massive send-off every year. And so how do you wrap up these fifth graders and your time at Cahaba?
Well, it's all about the kids. May is all about celebrating them and everything that they've accomplished throughout the year. And I'm looking forward to that last day. It's going to be quite emotional. I do love that place. But I just want to, when I talked to Dr. Martin, I think it was in January, I told him, I said, I just need a couple of things. I need to know I can finish out this year like we've done every other year, because I don't want the kids to think they got cheated because I decided to skip out of town. And he said, we can do that. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to come over during some of that time and see and meet our students, but I'm just looking forward to it being another great ending to another great year. I can't wait for the kids to see their mystery extravaganza this year. We have a great
I can't wait to see it.
I know, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's flown in on a helicopter one time.
I
have seen pictures.
It was really fun. And I got Dr. Martin to get in one of those race cars, and he didn't like it. He said, "You really like that?" And I said, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I loved it.
I am not.
Oh, geez.
My daughter still talks about the crazy hats that Joy would show up in.
Yeah.
I think she's got that. I know she's got that in her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Might be a little cheesy.
The prize patrol.
Both of you have touched my daughter in a very special way through the years, and she's crazy about both of you. I'd like to turn the conversation, as we close the interview, a little more toward Trussville City Schools. Joy, we've talked about, I think you put 25 years in Mississippi before you came over here. 29.
I know. You didn't know I was that old.
And Jennifer, you started teaching when you were like 3 or 4 years old.
Absolutely.
You've been in a couple of different systems. What makes Trussville City Schools different, and how does the community impact that? Just what do y'all see different here that maybe you didn't see at other places?
Well, people have different perceptions about Mississippi and Title I schools, and I had to overcome that when I first got here. But we had a fabulous school in Mississippi, and it constantly ranked in the top. And yes, we were a Title I school. Coming here, that is not the who I had. And I had parents that were involved, but not to the level that the community supports the school. It's not necessarily numbers. It's just the undergirding of support that I know is always there. I've always had a group of people I could call, whether they were serving on the PTO or not. Schools and the school experience is so important to Trussville. I feel like the community is built around the school district, and that is something that just doesn't happen everywhere. And us being such a walkable area, you go to the mailbox out front, you see parents and talk to them in the middle of the day. It is a joy. It is a management issue sometimes, but when you go to the table with people and say, this is the objective, y'all help me figure out how to keep you happy and meet these objectives. And as long as you include everybody, it's just been a great, great place.
Jennifer, what have you seen different about Trussville City Schools?
I'd like to echo the support part. I've only been in 2 places, Leeds, and I was there for a few years, and then Trussville, even before it was Trussville City Schools. And I remember that we just didn't have quite the support at Leeds that I got here in Trussville. And I'll never forget that I had a field trip to the McWayne Center, and I couldn't get any chaperones to go with me. So my own personal mother had to go with me so that I would have somebody to help me. And then I came to Trussville, and you had to beat people off with a stick.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to go in this. So the support is there. I love it. And I would also say family. My family is very, very important to me. And everybody just pulls you in and treats you like family. And I love it. That was the welcome that I got Monday morning at Cahaba. They just immediately just take you in. So the support and the family part.
Good deal.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Yeah.
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Joy, thank you for 10 great years and all that you've done to contribute to our community. We really appreciate it. It made a difference in my family's life, affected Brandon's family's life. And Jennifer, we could not be more excited for you. We know you're going to do a great job because we know you're all Trussville. So I'm just could not be more excited about this decision.
I agree. Well,
for
thanks
having
so
us.
much. Go ahead.
Yes. We're just saying thank you.
All right. Well,
Jennifer, I will tell you this, when you move in that office, there's probably going to be some cowbells stashed around there. Do not let those get back on the street and hurt anybody.
Throw them away.
Put them through recycling.
You can get control of her barber steel in a heartbeat if you start ringing one of those cowbells. Because she hates
more
my
cowbells.
cowbells.
I got more cowbells.
Use them unless necessary.
I almost got that Will Ferrell clip for Ron to play today. But I grew up in Tuscaloosa, and I swear you can hear them from there. So you're going to find them. Just dispose of them in the proper way. Don't let anybody get hurt by those.
That was pretty funny. Okay, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Butterbean Festival and all the drama around
my gosh.
it. So stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price.
Get a bath before? Look, I got needs, and one of them is plenty of soothing warm water. That's why Ma made sure our home has a natural gas water heater. Ah, she's the best. See, natural gas heats water fast and efficiently, so we never run out mid-spa session. Because when I'm out at the park, strutting around and meeting other pooches, I gotta show them who's boss. Visit my website and learn why natural gas is a home's best friend.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, saying bye.
We're still waving.
Okay, before we get to the Butterbean Festival, you know, I really didn't realize it till this morning, but we did not know last Thursday, even though even though it had happened, we did not know yet about the Trustful Airmen and the other service women and men who were killed in the refueling jet crash over in the Middle East. And so we did want to say something about that, because the various ways that these people are being honored continues.
Yeah.
You know, and so we wanted to mention that, because we had not, you know, the Tribune's done a great job running stories about the family who he was from here, you know, had recently moved to Trustful.
Yeah, very recently.
The GoFundMe account that has, you know, been filled up generously from people in the area and probably outside of the area. And then it was several days before we knew of the other people connected to that Birmingham unit who also died in that.
You know, it's just a jarring situation. First of all, it hurts to lose anybody in a conflict situation. This crashed, it wasn't shot down. But that's no less of loss for the family and for the friends that love them. And then you find out that, you know, Major Kleiner and his family had just moved to Trustful not too long ago.
And I want Ron to show that picture again that he had just popped up, because the Kleiners had moved to Stockton, which is a neighborhood here in Trustful, and recently the people who live in the neighborhood, I think, ran flags up into the neighborhood.
And Governor Ivey has ordered the flags to be flown at half staff. You know Trustful, I know Trustful, and one thing we do know is people are going to wrap their arms around them. That's the nature of this community, and I've always said, if anything bad happens, you want to live in Trustful, because the folks here will love on you and take care of you. But it is jarring to hear it, and he has three very young children, he and his wife Libby. You think about that and what what it'll take for those kids to grow up without their dad there.
It's really even hard just to think about.
But you know, when we watch these things, military conflicts, war, all of this stuff on television, it's one thing. But when it hits home locally, it really makes you stop and take account. I appreciate the support that the family has been getting. We've seen through the comments on social media, on the Tribune page, there's a lot of love for them, and they're still going to face a lot. So I encourage everybody to keep supporting them. as they go forward. But our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with that family, and I know all the community is. We don't, the dignified transfer took place yesterday. So I don't know exactly what'll transpire going forward. We'll try to keep the community updated. I do know Senator Britt was there. She flew in and participated, and we heard from her office about it. So it's just one of those things that kind of makes what you see on television a lot more real than we would like for it to be
absolutely.
sometimes.
And you know what? As Americans, we're just not accustomed to losing even the number that's been lost. You know, like that. We're just not.
We're not, and it is painful to see it. And again, I just appreciate the fact that that family is in a community that is going to surround them with love, and that's all you can do at a time like this, really. You know.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, turning to some other news, let's talk about the situation. I was honestly surprised when I walked through the room yesterday and CBS 42 was on and the story was running about the Butterbean Festival being canceled.
Yeah. And
I was just really surprised because that's been a really big deal in Pinson for a very long time. You
weren't the only one that was surprised. The city of Pinson was surprised. The city of Clay was surprised. And I'm hoping that the greater good will prevail here. All the people involved have contributed to their communities. They have put a lot of time and energy into their communities. They care about these communities. I don't think this is playing out in the way that it should or that it needs to. I do have a lot of respect for all parties involved, and I'm hoping they can all come together and figure out the best way forward. We got a press release from the Clay Pinson Chamber that said they were basically dissolving as a chamber, but would continue as an organization supporting schools and first responders. In that press release, they noted that Pinson and Clay, the cities of Pinson and Clay, were not supporting the schools any longer. I don't think that's accurate. Things may be different because you do have a new mayor in Clay, and you've got a returning but new mayor in Hoyt Sanders in Pinson. So they're gonna lead their city the way they think they need to, and it's been apparent through the championship ranks for Clay Chalkville that things weren't going to be done the way they had been done before. So I understand some of where the chamber is coming from with that, but I don't think that means they're pulling support away from those organizations. I'm not sure where the business members of the chamber fall on all this, because that's kind of what the chamber's made of. But we were contacted by city officials in Clay early yesterday who had seen the story in the Tribune and said we didn't know anything about this.
Right.
And we heard the same thing. That was from Pinson officials.
Right, and then you talked to Clay last night.
And then we talked to the Clay mayor last night, and basically she said the same thing. We had not cut off funding to the chamber. They had come before us. We had asked some questions, and we had talked to them. That is essentially exactly what Pinson said as well. And so I don't think either council had made a decision to end funding for the chambers or the Butterbean Festival, but for whatever reason, chamber officials kind of took it that way. And I saw some stuff posted on Facebook today by Robbie Roberts, who is a former mayor of Pinson. He was the one who stepped in after Joe passed away, Joe Cochran, and served until the election when Hoyt was elected. And if I'm hoping there might be something lost in translation there in some of the comments that Robbie shared. Sometimes things can be said but not necessarily intended the way they sound, and I'm hoping that turns out to be the case, because it makes it sound like this is punitive and more personal, but between some of the parties. I would like to believe none of these people would go down that road, because again, they have everybody involved here has invested in these communities over the years, and I'm talking about a lot of investment. If you're going to dissolve the chamber, that's a chamber decision, okay? And I'm sure whatever decision they made, they were looking at a lot of factors when they made that. I think it's only appropriate that you notify the cities you've been representing before you make that decision.
But they're not doing that though, right?
Yes, they're dissolving the chamber. And,
okay. I thought they were dropping the festival, but
well, no.
But then
they're saying because they don't have the funding, they're going to kind of change the nature of what the organization is.
Okay, well, I kind of misunderstood that.
I think they're still using the chamber name.
Okay.
I mean, they have thus far, so I don't know.
Oh, because they said they're going to raise money for local schools and first responders.
And first responders.
So you're
correct.
right. That is essentially dissolving the chamber. Okay.
Yeah, which are worthy causes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's
well, you know what? Maybe. Well, and I was going to point out that we just posted the story. Brady Flanagan just posted the story not long before the show started with the comments from the mayor of Clay, and she pointed out, and I think Pinson had asked, been asking some of the same questions, and that's what you're supposed to do is when you're in new leadership is question what has always been done and where you're spending money. And she said that they had been asking questions. Like, what does the chamber do for Clay outside of the Butterbean Festival? What are we getting from our money?
That's always been in Pinson.
Yeah, but she was saying outside of this festival, what is Clay getting for what we're getting?
Right.
What we're giving. And so maybe it is time if there's still opportunities for chambers of commerce in these communities, maybe it's not together.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it is time for a new chamber to start for each city. I don't know. They'll have to figure that out. And that will largely be up to the business members of the community, because that's who really makes up the chamber, right? And things like that will have to be figured out. The Butterbean Festival was actually started by the Palmerdale Homestead Community Center.
Okay.
And Phil Sims was the first kind of organizer of all that. And it started as a big regional festival. Remember, it drew from...
Yeah, I knew it did.
It drew from out of state. That they, a few years in, they broke the Butterbean record for most butterbeans cooked. Heard a really interesting story about that yesterday. They had manufactured an 800-gallon pot. That's what it was going to take to break the record. Oh, this story gets better. The pot is delivered. Before they can get to the festival, the record is broken somewhere else.
And then they need a bigger pot?
They had to get a bigger pot.
Oh, my gosh.
And as it turned out, the company that manufactured the pot said, we're going to build you the second one for free. So they did not charge the festival. They built an 1,100-gallon pot so they could break the new record that had been. I don't know how you and they did it. Well, they did it. I went by, and everybody in this side of Alabama probably had a bowl of beans because there was enough to feed this side of Alabama.
Crazy.
So it's been a lot of fun, and I don't think it's
because it was a really popular festival.
Oh yeah, and I the first time I heard about the festival, I thought the T-shirts are going to write themselves. I mean, and I bought several of those T-shirts over the years because they're hysterically funny. Yeah. But it did start off as a much bigger festival, and then it kind of became more of just a local festival. But it's a great one. I didn't go last year, but I went the year before. Every time I went, I was just impressed at what a good little festival it was, a great selection of vendors. Whoever lines up the music for it, I thought did a great job. I was kind of shocked. Every band that came up, it didn't matter if they looked like a garage rock band or a teenage band or gospel or country or bluegrass. They were all fantastic. So it is a good festival. It has served the community well. And that takes me back to Robbie Roberts' comments that he made on what's happening in Pinson. It almost makes it sound like the former chamber or current chamber, I don't know exactly how they're classified at the moment, but it almost makes it sound like they were holding the Butterbean Festival hostage unless they got funding from the cities to support the chamber. And if they're not, they're just going to shut it down, and they don't want it to continue if they're not involved with. So that's what I'm saying when I say I hope something is being lost in translation here. Again, I know all the people involved. I know how deeply all of them care about community. And we know that there are a lot of raw feelings right now after the elections and things have gone different directions. But I hope cooler heads will prevail. Pinson would like to continue the Butterbean Festival. The city has said we would take it and we'll put it together. And according to the comments we're hearing from Robbie, again, we've reached out to Ronnie Dixon and to Dean Kirtner and tried to get some clarification on that. Haven't heard back yet, but I expect we will from both of them. Ronnie has always communicated with the Tribune great, so is Dean. So I feel like at some point they will communicate with us, and we can start kind of getting the third side of the story, and that somehow this can all work out. I think it can. Yet I think at this moment it doesn't look good, but I think it can still. I do think it can still work out, and I hope it does.
Yeah, me too. It was surprising to see the whole thing go the way it did. So,
yeah, it really does not need to go away. That it needs to continue in some form, and if the city, I mean, this has been a big deal for the city of Pinson for 20 years.
Yeah.
I hope it can continue.
Yeah.
I really do.
Okay, well, let's look, speaking of the festival, that kind of makes for a good transition. But before we got away, I did want to mention a couple events coming up for people and families because it's that time of year where there's just lots of fun stuff
there is
to
a lot
do.
of stuff.
And so I cannot believe Easter is like right around the corner. So that just blows my mind. But the Shops of Grand River is hosting a free Easter event there at their location. And that is actually coming up not this weekend, but the next weekend on March 28th. And there's all kind of just entertainment and activities at the Shops of Grand River that day, prizes, all kind of things for kids, all, bounce houses and craft stations and, decorate your own Easter bucket and just all of the fun stuff. So if you got little ones and you're looking for something to do, mark that on your calendar for that next weekend.
That'll be a fun, and sometimes it's easier to let everybody else do the work and just show up.
Yeah, and just show up. Absolutely. It's easy to park there.
That's right.
It's easy to get in. It's easy to get your kids in and out.
And a lot of great places to shop while you're there.
Yes,
so it's a good place.
So I wanted to let people know about that. And then the weekend after that is a festival. Yeah, the Heritage Days is coming up in Trussville. And that is kind of all things Cahaba Project. So we did want to go ahead. I have a feeling Amy Peterson will be in here, or somebody from their group closer to time.
I think Amy's already reached out.
She has.
So
we just haven't heard exactly which date they're coming, or maybe we have. I'll look back at the calendar. But anyway,
Are they doing the home tour this year?
I believe they are.
Okay.
I believe they are doing the home tour, but that will take place April 7th through 12th. It's days of events. And so there's a story on the Tribune's website right now about, they have some events that have really just become popular. The quilters that come in, the home tour that Scott already mentioned. There's always... I want to mention, that's the G's Bend quilters. Yes, thank you.
Which are internationally known.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a big deal.
Yes, down in Wilcox County, in the Camden area, and when Amy told me she was bringing them in, I'm like, that's a big deal.
Yes.
You may not be into quilting. I'm not into quilting, but I know all about the G's Bend quilters, and that's pretty awesome to have
There's
them here.
Always the open air, the Alabama Plain air artists, that paint outdoors, and they'll be stationed all over all over the city. And there's always music, and so there's an event Friday night at the stage at the Trussville Entertainment District.
Do we know who's coming to play?
It does. It says Nashville to Trussville is the name of the concert, featuring singer-songwriter Adam Craig, Ray Fulcher, and Jordan Walker.
Good deal.
So anyway, just a lot going on that weekend.
It's a fun weekend.
Yes.
They do a lot of stuff, and it's all good
April
stuff.
7th through 12th.
Yeah, that's more than a weekend, isn't it? It's 5.
Yeah, it's several days.
So,
it's several days.
It's a full event.
So it is a full event. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is, so what weird weather we had in Trussville this week. It was literally snowing like crazy on Monday, and today it's
hard freeze morning as well.
Then we had hard freezes.
Tornadoes the night before.
Yes, I mean it was just totally wacky. We got all the weather in 1 week, and by this weekend it'll be 80 degrees.
You better have your sunscreen on.
You better have your sunscreen on, except for me, because I'm going on a trip where it's cold, so I'm going to be still bundled up. But Ron Burkett did a great video kind of featuring the snow called Winter's Last Kiss. So we're going to end the show.
You know what? He probably cursed us. We're probably going to get 6 inches of snow next week. Ron Burkett.
Just for calling it that. But it is really great, and it was unbelievable how much snow that we got.
It was crazy. We basically went through 4 seasons in a week.
I will tell you, I'm glad Miss Tyner's not here to hear this, but Bennett had his watch on that day and really kind of broke the rules and was texting me to please come check him out. And I was like, it's not worth it. It's melting.
It doesn't matter. Can you imagine sitting in a classroom and seeing that out your, because it was snowing like
some people
crazy.
did check out their kids, but not me. I did not.
We finished our staff meeting here and walked out, and I'm thinking,
it was crazy.
We may get 6 inches the way it was coming down.
I know, because you had said that, Dr. Martin and you had been in touch, and you made a joke
mainly laughing about it.
Yeah, about this is not going to stick, right?
That's what our meteorologist says. It's not sticking.
So it didn't, but I did capture a really pretty picture of my own house. So
good.
Anyway, but it was not as good as what Ron captured. So we're going to leave with that, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place.
Same bat time, same bat place.
See you then.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned